All right, we are rolling, my brother.
We back.
This is episode 5, I believe. Episode 5, we got some
That's
good
right.
stuff to talk about today. I'm looking forward to this one. I've been waiting for this one, to be honest.
It's going to be an exciting episode for sure.
It's gonna be a great episode. We are going to jump right into it, man. Let's start with our Week 18 predictions. There's going to be some interesting games this weekend, a few that have playoff implications and a few that don't. But let's go through them. I am off to a pretty rough start, can't lie, when it comes to these predictions, but it's going to turn around this week. I got a great feeling. I've got a great feeling about this week. All right, we'll start with the first game tomorrow. Saturday, we got 2 games, AFC North games, Ravens, Browns. Give me the Ravens.
Of course, give me the Ravens.
Pretty easy there. Ravens, with this win, they are going to lock up the AFC North and have a home playoff game, lock up the 3 seed, I believe.
Yep.
Which is crazy because with how they started at 1-4, I believe, and to where they are now, finishing 12-5, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, lost to the Raiders week 2. That was rough.
Lost to the Raiders week 2. That was bad. Yep, but they back now and they got some.
Yeah, good momentum.
Big time. Bengals at Steelers. Who you got?
Give me Cincy. I've been riding with Cincy towards the end of the season. I don't think they'll make the playoffs, but I do think that they'll do their part to get in.
I agree with you. They've been playing great, and Pittsburgh has been on a downward slope as of late. So I do think Cincinnati's gonna hold up their end of the deal. They're gonna get the win. Put a little bit of pressure on Miami and Denver, but I don't think it's going to be enough. But I'm taking Cincinnati as well.
Yep. It'll be a good game, though, divisional game.
That's going to be a great game. I'm not sure it's supposed to be cold in Pittsburgh, but I don't think we're going to get it like that. But it's going to be cold.
Yep.
Falcons at home hosting the Carolina Panthers. I'm going to take the Falcons. They're going to do what they need to do to potentially make the playoffs. I don't think they're going to do enough, considering they're behind the 8 ball, but I do think the Falcons win this game. Who you got?
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think Falcons win this game. I think it's going to be another good game for Michael Penix, which would be, 3 good games in a row. He started out the first game against the Giants, got the win, went into that battle with the Commanders, lost in overtime, but
played okay.
Still made it.
Played okay.
I mean, he put his team in a position to win the game.
Yeah.
So that's all you can ask for from someone that's only started 1 game prior to that. But I think he's going to go in and get this win against Carolina. I think the game's at home, so it'll be good for him to close out the season at home on a good note. And I think he'll be their quarterback right into the new year.
Think so too. All right, next game, Commanders at Cowboys. Now, this game doesn't really have too much playoff implication. I believe the Commanders are locked into their spot. Let's see, they are. No, I mean they and Green Bay have the same record, so they could easily drop to the 7 seed if they lose and Green Bay wins. So they're gonna play all their guys. So with that being the case, I'm gonna take Washington.
Yeah, same thing. I'm with you. Taking Washington in this game.
All right, Bears at Packers. What you got?
Give me the Packers.
I'm taking the Packers as well. Same situation as the Commanders. They got to win to potentially move up. It's crazy, though, just how good the NFC is. Because you could potentially have 2 12-win teams as the 6 and 7 seed. That's wild. That is wild. The NFC is very good. All right, next game, we got Texans at Titans. What you got?
You gonna pick the Titans and the Titans defense again? Give me Houston.
I am gonna take the Titans.
Really?
The Texans have been playing pretty bad as of late. It seems like they were just emotionally destroyed ever since Tank Dell went down with that injury.
Yeah.
And the Texans can't move up or down. So I believe they're going to sit their starters. But if they come out and they turn it up and they play well and they look great without C.J. Stroud and some of those starters, that's going to be kind of a bad look. But I'm going to take the Titans. Titans are going to play all their guys. Texans, I don't believe they will. So give me the Titans.
Yeah, I'm really not too sure who's going to play for the Titans. For the Texans. I looked at the injury report. I don't think it's been updated yet because I didn't see any of those starters on the injury report. And for a lot of other teams that are sitting there, players, they were showing up on the injury report as either questionable or doubtful.
Rest. Okay.
So we'll see what happens. Either way, even with the backups, I'm not picking the Titans.
Gotcha. Okay. Next game, Jaguars at Colts. No playoff implications whatsoever since the Colts lost last week. They are eliminated. Who you got in this one?
Give me the Jaguars in this game.
I'm going to take the Colts. I think it's going to be a revenge game for the Colts. I think there's been a lot of talk about the culture over there. There's been a lot of talk about, how they run things and things of that nature. So I think they're going to come out and play hard. I don't know who's starting at quarterback, but I think whether Flacco starts or Richardson starts, I'm going to take the Colts.
Yeah, I saw Richardson was out with the back for the season finale, so it's going to be Joe Flacco starting for them.
Okay.
I don't think it matters either way. I would have taken the Jaguars. I know last time they played, the Jaguars did win. However, Flacco played and Trevor Lawrence played in that game. So I just think that the Jaguars are playing for a little bit more pride right now than the Colts.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. The Jags are 1-7 on the road. I don't believe they get to 2-7. I think they go to 1-8. So I'm gonna take the Colts. I think that's where I'm gonna get you. All right. Bills.
Yeah, I did. I will say before we move on, I did go out on a limb on this one. I did want to pick the Colts.
Yeah.
But if you remember the last time we did all these predictions, I picked the overdog in every single game, and that never works out. So I think I'm going to go with the underdog for this game.
Gotcha. All right, Bills at Patriots. Who you got, Pats fan?
I think Gerard Mayo is going to be ending his coaching career with the Patriots on an L.
So 1 year and he's done, you think, huh?
I think he's done. Yeah. I don't think he's done a good job. Like off rip, I think, and not to get too off topic from these picks, but I think he botched the decision to start Jacoby Brissett at the beginning of the season. Drake May, I mean, I don't know how he played in preseason, but as soon as he came in, immediately you could see that he was a lot better than Jacoby Brissett.
Right.
The way that he talks about his team in post-game interviews, talking about they're soft, they're this, they're that, talking about his players, I don't think that resonates well in the locker room. And then lastly, there were a couple of situations where the media would ask him who was starting that game. For example, this most recent game, he said that Gibson was going to be starting at running back, and then all of a sudden the game starts and Stevenson was the starter. And when they asked him about it, he just said, it was coach's decision. I just feel like, I don't know, it doesn't really seem like he's being very transparent with the media, and that is not a good look for the organization. So I think just with all those things, they might have a chance to make a move at the head coaching position, and I think they might make it happen. We'll see, but I think they might make it happen.
Couple questions for you.
What's up?
Well, I guess first question, how many games did Drake May win this year?
3?
Nope, not 3, because they won
2.
The first game of the season with...
Well, the first game was Cincinnati.
Over Cincinnati.
So he beat the Jets, he beat the Bears.
He beat the Jets, he beat the Bears, and he played how many more games than Jacoby? 10? So my question to you is, if Drake May started at the beginning of the season, what
would their record be different?
Are they in the playoff hunt? Are they what would you say is
I don't think they'll be in the playoff hunt, but I think they could have beat a couple of the teams that they lost to. I mean, they lost to the Jets pretty bad. That was 24-3, and then they beat them the second time around when Drake May was the starter, and then they lost to the Dolphins 15-10. I think Drake May could have put up more than 10 points on the Dolphins.
Would they have beat Cincinnati game 1 with Drake?
I think so. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think Brissett did anything crazy. I don't think they won that game because of him. They won because of their defense.
Their defense.
The Bengals to 10 points.
Stevenson had a good game in that game too.
He did. Yeah.
I don't think he gets fired.
And my fault. One more thing. Then there wasn't a win, but I think that Drake May put their team in a lot of positions to win. I think there was there was one overtime game. I forget who it was to, but there was an overtime game where he threw the touchdown to Stevenson in the corner of the end zone. I think that he's put his team in position to win more games than shows on their record.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like Jacoby Brissett has been able to put them in those kinds of positions.
I agree, and I'm not trying to argue that Jacoby is a better quarterback than Drake. I just don't think they were in the position this year with the roster that they have to do anything. And Gerard is a first-year head coach. He played under Bill, so I think he tried to take some of what Bill did and apply it when that's not necessarily his personality. But if you only know one way of coaching, you're really only going to do one thing. So I think if they do keep Gerard, he's got to kind of figure out his own identity as a head coach and be himself. Or there's only one Bill Belichick. And the only reason why Bill Belichick was really able to have the success he had was because he had Tom, who was able to kind of like be a middleman and take a lot of the stress and the anger from the team away from Bill. So I don't think they move on from him quite yet. I believe they said not too long ago that his job is safe. Obviously, things change. It moves pretty quick in the NFL, but I would give him a little bit more time. Let him and his young quarterback grow together. You don't want to keep changing things up on the young quarterback like they're doing Caleb Williams or some of these other young quarterbacks. So I would keep him, at least give him and see what happens next year.
Yeah. Well, again, not to get too far off topic, but I'm going down a rabbit hole here. Hear me out. So I heard Nick Wright say this on TV. I don't know if you heard him with his prediction of what the Patriots were going to do. Did you hear that?
I don't know. I hear that, no.
Okay. So he was saying this is an option that you have to think about. Right now you're in line for the number 1 pick. Trade Drake May to the Titans.
I'm
listen,
just listen.
Listen.
Okay.
When I first heard it, I thought it sounded a little bit outlandish as well. But then the more I thought about it, I'm just like, it's kind of outlandish, but like it could work.
Okay.
Trade Drake May to Tennessee for the number 2 pick. Draft Shador and Travis Hunter. Sign Deion Sanders.
It could. Not gonna happen.
It probably won't happen, but like, if he did do that, I wouldn't be mad. I'd be like,
I'd be down.
That, you trying to change the culture?
I'd be down.
That would change the culture, and Prime would be down if you can give him Shador and Travis Hunter. I think he would do it. I think he would come to the league. The only thing is he did say he would never coach in a place that has the weather that New England has. That's the only thing that kind of like throws a wrenge in it. But if all that did happen, I'd be down.
That'd be a fun story. And as a Patriots fan, yeah, I'd be down for sure. Is it possible or feasible? No, I don't think so. I think, that's fantasy football talk. But
yeah, for sure.
That would be cool. I'd be down. I'd be down to see that for sure. I would definitely be down.
Yeah.
But I think they continue to build around Drake. They give him some weapons. I think they have one more year. And if they see some improvement, 6, 7, 8 wins next year, I think he'll be all right. If he's around 3, 4 wins, then I think he's gone.
Yeah. But long story short, give me Buffalo in that game.
I'm taking the Patriots. Get
out of here.
Give me the Pats.
Are you serious?
I'm serious. I'm dead serious.
And
give me the Pats.
That's where I'm going to get you.
Nope. Give me the Pats.
That's where I'm going to get you. Is Josh Allen playing?
Nope. Mitchell Trubisky. All right, next game.
I still think Buffalo's going to win.
You taking Trubisky?
Yeah.
And Buffalo? Give me the Pats.
Yeah.
All right, next game. Giants at Eagles. Eagles are locked into the 2 seed. Got nothing to play for. I think Tanner McKee is going to start for the Eagles. I don't think Pickett's going to play, and Jalen Hurts definitely is not going to play. I'm still going to take the Eagles over the Giants. I don't think the Giants can replicate what they did last week. I think that was a fluke. So I'm gonna take the Eagles. Who you got?
Also give me the Eagles, but I think, and we'll get to a little bit later, I think more starters are going to play than you would expect.
All right, then we got Saints at Bucks. This one does have some playoff implications. If the Bucks win, they are secured as the 4 seed. They win their division. If they lose and Atlanta wins, they're out of the playoffs. I'm going to take Tampa to beat the Saints. Who you got?
I also got Tampa.
Got
no question.
Does Mike Evans get his 85 yards and 1,000 yards on the season?
Yeah.
Think so too.
Yep. They'll make sure he gets it.
Yep. I think he needs 5 catches and 85 yards for like a $2-3 million bonus. So they're going to be feeding him early and often.
Yep.
All right, next game, Chiefs at Broncos. We know the Chiefs are resting their starters. Broncos need a win to make the playoffs. If they lose, there's a good chance either Miami or Cincinnati will take their spot. Who you got in this one?
Yeah, I'm picking Denver, but I want Kansas City to win because I want Cincinnati to have a chance. But I think Denver beats the Kansas City backups and closes the door and locks up that playoff spot.
I think so too. And as fun as it is to watch Cincinnati, I don't want to see them in the playoffs. They were loafing around for the first half of the season. You don't deserve to make the playoffs after that.
They don't deserve it. Yeah.
So give me I think the Broncos win, seal the deal, and then we're going to see a very different Bengals team next year with most likely no T. Higgins, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, and I agree. They don't deserve it. They don't deserve to be in the playoffs. I think it might be a little bit more of an entertaining game if you watch Denver against some of these other teams because they actually have a good defense. So going out there and seeing people put in, playoff level effort, I think will be better, more entertaining to watch than seeing Cincinnati's defense let up 35, 40 points to a mediocre offense and then having to try to climb back into it or try to have Joe Burrow throw for a 3, 4, 5 touchdowns and 300 yards just to keep them in the game. I feel like that part would be fun to watch, but as far as like competitive play, I want to see Denver in the playoffs.
Yeah, for sure. And that first round matchup is going to be either Denver or Cincinnati or Miami. We can't really rule them out, but one of those teams against Buffalo first round. So I would love to see a Cincinnati, like a Joe Burrow versus a Josh Allen shootout. But as
far as competitive play,
Denver
will be a lot more competitive in that game than Cincinnati.
Yeah. All right, next game, the Chargers at the Raiders. This one does have implications. Chargers got to win to lock up the 6th seed.
Yeah,
I'm gonna take the Chargers.
Yeah, they'll win that game.
Yep, cool. All right, next one, Seattle at Los Angeles Rams. No play of implications here. Seattle's been eliminated, and the Rams are locked into the 3 seed.
Yeah. At this game, I'm taking Seattle. Like you said, no implications other than incentives. So I know Geno Smith needs to throw for a certain amount of yards, a certain amount of touchdowns. A couple of their players need to hit some yards to get some incentives.
Yeah.
I'm going to take Seattle in this game. I don't think Matthew Stafford is not playing, so Kyron Williams not playing, Puka Nacua is not playing.
Cooper, I'm sure, is not playing either.
I'm sure Cooper Kupp's not playing, so I'll take Seattle.
Same. I'm taking Seattle in this one as well. All right, Dolphins at the Jets. I'm going to take the Dolphins. Dolphins have a slim chance to make the playoffs if they can win and Denver loses their end. I'm going to take the Dolphins to beat the Jets. I don't think the Jets are a good team, and they haven't been a good team, so I'm going to take the Dolphins.
Yeah, I was looking for another upset, but I'm going to pick the overdog. I wanted to pick the Jets and be like, I hope they win because I don't want Rodgers to go out like this. I think he's too good of a player to just have his name get slandered the way that it's been slandered since he got to New York. So for the past 2 years. But they're just not good. And like you said, Miami has something to play for. New York doesn't. Some of those players are checked out. It's kind of messy over there. But I think that this will be Rodgers' last game in New York.
It is a cold weather game, though. 36 degrees. Is Miami going to be able to play well in the cold weather?
No, but I don't think you need to play well to beat the Jets.
10 points gets you a dub, huh?
Yes.
All right. We're both.
What do you think? You picked Miami, right?
I'm taking Miami as well, yep.
Okay.
All right, next one, also no playoff implications. 49ers at Cardinals. I'm going to take the Niners. I think Brock Purdy's playing for a contract, and I think he plays well enough to beat the Cardinals. Who you got?
So I'm picking the Cardinals just because I took a look at the injury report, and I don't think Purdy is playing.
Because of that elbow.
because of his elbow. And so since he's already hurt, and there's no way like winning that game doesn't do anything for them. I'm picking the Cardinals, but it's like a lot of injuries here. Like,
Right.
if Purdy doesn't play, Mason's on IR, James Conner's on IR, Kittle is questionable. So it's really just like Kyler and McBride are playing. So, I mean, based on that, I'm gonna say Arizona.
I mean, if that's the case, I got to flip my pick. I didn't realize Purdy wasn't playing, but there's no way I'm on their backup. We saw him earlier in the season. He looked.
Yeah, it was. That was rough.
So yeah, if Purdy's not playing, I'm taking the Cardinals as well. I didn't realize he wasn't playing.
Okay.
All right. Game of the week, game of the year.
Game of the week, game of the year for sure.
We've been building up to this for a while. I told you what was going to happen, and guess what?
You did.
And guess what's going to happen? Minnesota.
You did.
The Lions for the number 1 seed. Winner takes the number 1 seed, gets the bye, wins the division. Loser drops down to a 5 seed with 14 wins.
That's rough, man. That's so deflating. You lose this game, you have no Super Bowl chance.
Well, if you lose the game, if the Vikings lose, I don't think it impacts them that much because the whole year they were kind of flying under the radar. They were never statistically at the top of the division the whole year, whereas the Lions have been. So I think if the Lions lose, they're cooked. I think Minnesota will be able to bounce back and can still make a run if they lose. But we don't have to even talk about that because I'm taking the Vikings. Vikings win at Detroit, get the number 1 seed. And Detroit falls to 14-3. Give me the Vikings in this one.
Yeah, I think we do need to talk about it, Spence, because I think that Detroit's winning this game, and Minnesota's going to drop down to the 5 seed, and they're going to have to go on the road for their first playoff game. And I don't think they're going to play particularly well in that game, seeing that they have a lack of playoff experience over there. Yeah, give me Detroit. Detroit's going to lock this up. I know they've been playing a little bit poorly as of late, not up to the standard that they were playing at the beginning of the season. They are super banged up on the defensive side of the football. David Montgomery is out. Craig Reynolds is questionable, so I'm a little nervous there. But I think Gibbs is just going to have to handle the workload and take over.
I mean, a couple of weeks ago, you said you don't think Gibbs can handle being
every down
number 1 every down solo back. What have you thought of him over the last couple of weeks?
He's been proving me wrong.
He's been cooking.
Yeah, he's been
cooking.
Proving me wrong.
As explosive as he is in terms of his speed and what he can do outside the numbers, he is an underrated running back in terms of running between the tackles with physicality, breaking tackles, and handle that workload. I think once he gets to a situation where he is the solo back, we're going to see historic numbers from him. I really think we will.
Next year?
I don't know what the deal is with Montgomery. I know they just extended him. So I don't know how long he will split those duties. I mean, he only has 227 carries this year for 1,200 yards. That's pretty low considering he's, third in the league? Excuse me, 5th in the league in terms of rushing yards. So he has 227 carries. He's 5th. Saquon's got 345. Kyron's got 316. Bijan's got 276. Jacob's got 295. So he's well below these guys, and he's right up there with them in terms of yards. So once you get him to that point where he's touching the ball 300 times on the ground, 300 plus, we're going to see Saquon-type numbers. I really think we will.
Yeah, and I think that should be the game script for the Lions going into next year. I think they just need to ride the young legs of Gibbs and then just let Montgomery come in there. And honestly, I would give him less carries this next year than he had this year. Right. Keep him healthy for the playoffs. Plus, he's just really efficient with the touches he gets. So, a veteran back that's willing to accept a lesser role, he's still getting paid the same, even though he's getting less carries and yards. And I think as a veteran back, you need to mentor the young guy and say, I'm handing it over to you.
Yeah.
You're gonna be the guy going forward, and I'll come in and give you a breather when I need to, and I'll hold it down. And when you're fresh, you're ready to come back in and do your thing.
Right.
I think they have a great relationship. They do
great relationship.
They do the Sonic and
Knuckles
and Knuckles thing. So yeah, that's what I think that they should do going into next year. I don't know if he even comes back this year. I hope he does, but we'll see.
Yeah, I don't know where he's at in terms of the rehab with his knee at this point. Um, they could use him. They could use him.
Right.
He's a very, very good player, and that 1-2 punch between them is tough to deal with. So we'll see. But that game is going to be
Yeah.
awesome.
I'll be tuned into that game.
I'm
I'll
looking
have my
forward to
full
that
attention.
game big time. And Vikings are going to do something that not many people thought they can do. I've been on them for weeks now. I'm taking credit
You
out for
have.
weeks.
You have.
As a really, really good team, and is going to finish with the best record in the league, in my opinion. I mean, them and the Chiefs, but 15 wins, that's impressive.
Yep, for
So
sure.
we'll see. All right, cool. Let's go to Philadelphia
Yeah.
and Saquon. We talked last week. We had very different opinions in terms of what Philly should do with Saquon.
Yep.
And then listening to Saquon talk, he said after the game last Sunday, he wasn't really thinking about playing. He was kind of like, I'll sit. We're locked into the 2 seed, whatever. But then as he slept on it, he thought it would be cool to put his name in history. And, that's something that's it doesn't happen often. You don't get this opportunity very often. And then it was weird because the coach said he's probably going to be one that will sit. And you informed me today that he practiced fully and he's not on the injury report, whereas A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, whatever, shows that they were on the injury report.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts now in terms of him playing versus not playing?
Yeah, so initially I thought that Nick Sirianni and I were on the same page with sitting him. I was nervous when he said probably. He said he'll probably be someone that sits. And I'm like, so you're kind of leaving the door open. And it means he hadn't fully made a decision, which was a little concerning to me because I had made a decision. I was locked in on sitting him. And then obviously, the practice report came out today and they said he was practicing with their first team. And then they interviewed him after the practice, and he said that initially when Sirianni asked him after their game what he wants to do, does he want to play in the next game? Does he want to sit? Do you want to try to break the record or not? He said, I'm not really trying to play. I want to do what's best for the team, so I'll let you make that decision. And then he said he slept on it, and he was like, now I feel like, I have an opportunity to do something that no one else can say. So if they're willing to let me play, I'm down to play. He said, those were his words, I'm down. But at the end of the day, he's going to leave it up to Sirianni, and he'll make the decision on if he plays or not. My stance as a fan, I want to see him play and break the record. As a GM or a head coach, I'm sitting him still. Because of all the reasons that I spoke about in our last episode, and in addition to that, I'm now thinking about if you can't just put Saquon out there with all the backups. Like you can't put him out there behind your backup offensive line and expect him to get out of there healthy. He's going to be taking some hits. I think that if you play him, you have to play your starting offensive line. You can play Kenny Pickett, but I feel like you have to throw.
I think he's going to play.
Okay, I think Pickett is questionable right now. I know he went out of the last game with an injury, and I don't know. I would be surprised if they have Pickett play in this game. But I think you have to put out some receivers as well. So like I don't think you can just put out all your second and third string receivers and expect the Giants not to ignore them and just load up the box. So I think again that the risk is too great for the reward. And I think that maybe if he, like, I'm not saying 100 yards is a lot, but maybe if he only had to get like 25 yards, I would be more inclined to play him.
Yeah.
Because maybe he can break that in the first quarter and then he's done. But like 100 yards, he'll probably get it by halftime, but there's a chance that it could take him a full game to get it. Yeah. So just too much risk versus reward. And again, my eyes are on the Super Bowl, not on an Eric Dickerson record, which I think will be broken in the next 5 years anyways.
I feel that. My stance is still the same. I would still play him. I think the organization trusts him, and if it's something that he wants to do, I think they're going to allow him to do that. And I was thinking too, because last time you had said because there's an extra game, it wasn't as good of a season as Eric Dickerson had because of the game.
I already know where you're going.
Yeah. So that year, Eric Dickerson had 390 carries.
Yep.
Saquon right now is at 345.
Yeah.
So he's
So
55
Saquon
carries
has
left.
been more efficient.
More efficient. Yep. Eric Dickerson did have 18 touchdowns that year, whereas Saquon only has 13 rushing.
13 total, right?
13 rushing. Total, he has 15.
Okay.
15 total.
And all 18 of Eric Dickerson's were on the ground?
He had 18 rushing touchdowns. I don't know if he had any receiving.
Okay.
But he did have 18 rushing touchdowns. But in terms of the efficiency, I don't see Saquon getting 55 touches this week. And what would you say, 20 touches, 25 touches will get him 100 yards, roughly?
Easy.
So that puts him at 365. So he's still a solid 25 rushes less than Eric Dickerson. So, yes, he had an extra game, but less touches. So it's kind of, I think when you look at it from that perspective, I do think it was just as impressive, if not more impressive, than Eric Dickerson's record, especially now where it's such a pass-happy league. You don't see a lot of these rushing records being broken from a team perspective or from an individual perspective. You're seeing all these passing numbers getting shattered, but not rushing. So the fact that he's able to do that in today's game, to me, is impressive. So I stand on it. I think they should play him. I think he gets it. I think the only way I wouldn't play him is if you could guarantee that if he doesn't play, they win a Super Bowl, and you can't. So imagine he sits and they lose in the first round. Come on. So I'm playing.
Is that worse? Him sitting and they lose in the first round, is that worse than him going for the record and getting injured and not even having an opportunity to play in the first round?
I don't think it's worse. No, but there's just too many unknowns. It's not guaranteed. Like I said, if it was guaranteed that they win a Super Bowl if he doesn't play, of course. But you can't risk it. I mean, you can't guarantee it. So I would. Yeah. I'm standing on it. I'd play him.
Yeah. So now after we found out what we found out about Nick Sirianni, he said probably. Now and then Saquon changed his mind. Now he is down to play. Again, I'm personally sitting him, but I think Sirianni is going to play him because last time he had a chance to break a record, his own record, he asked him what he wanted to do and respected his wishes. And then I think he's going to do the same thing here. I think he's going to ask him, you want to play on Sunday? And he's going to say yes. And he's going to say, okay, you're going to play, which I don't hate the move because if you're Sirianni, you have to put trust in your team. And if he says, I want it, he got you here. So you need to let him have a little bit of freedom if he got you here. If he wasn't so impactful to his team, he's probably the best player on his team.
Yep.
If he wasn't the best player on his team, then it's not a conversation. But he got you there, so I think you need to reward him.
Right.
If you're Sirianni, that's not what I think you do. I think that's what Sirianni is going to do.
But that's not what you would do.
No, I would sit him.
Gotcha. But you know what's crazy? What's ironic about that too? The last time when he chose to sit and let his guys go in instead of him, imagine if he went back in and got an extra 50, 60 yards.
You know what he could have sat.
He could have sat the last game. So, it's crazy how that works. But I think it would be so cool to see him break the record. And let him break it. Let him break it. It's hard to say, play smart, go out of bounds, go down and try to get tackled. Because once you start to play that way where you're trying not to get hurt, that's typically when this happens. So it's got to just be go out there and play, play free, play the way you played all season and see what happens.
Go out and play the game you've played your whole life.
Yep, exactly. So I would love to see it. I hope they end up playing him. I think that'd be an awesome story, and I'd love to see the record broken. Eric Dickerson held the record for 40 years. It's time for someone new.
Again, not trying to change your opinion, your perspective, but even if you have to play your offensive line, maybe some receivers, you're still willing to put all them at risk as well. Just so that Saquon can play.
That's a very good point, and it's definitely a risk because O linemen can get hurt anytime someone falls into the side of their leg, which is what tends to happen. And if they're running consistently, that definitely puts them at risk. So it's a risk, but if you ask the O line what they want to do, guess what they would say?
They're going to want to
play to get them that record. So if everyone's on board with it, hey, I'm doing it. I'm doing it.
Okay.
But that'll be fun to watch. it was just announced who made the Pro Bowl this year. And overall, I think the players who got selected earned it and are going to represent well. But I don't think it's perfect. Let's go through some of the picks, and if there's anybody that you feel like was snubbed, who you would put in over someone who was in. So we'll start with the quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
In the AFC, we got Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson. Any gripes there? Anybody you would put over anybody there?
I'm good with that list.
I am too. Those are the three best quarterbacks in the AFC in terms of who played well this year. Obviously, there's no Mahomes, but he didn't have a great season this year statistically.
Yeah. Yep.
So I am A-okay with that list for sure. NFC quarterbacks, we got Jaden Daniels, Sam Darnold, and Jared Goff. What are your thoughts on those three?
There's only one person I would take out of this list right here, and that's Sam Darnold.
Bro, no way.
That's Sam Darnold.
Okay.
I'm taking Baker Mayfield. He had a better season to me than Sam Darnold.
Okay.
He's second in the league. He's now third in the league in passing yards. And like we talked about last week, he's had to deal with a lot of injuries to his main guys, Chris Godwin, Mike Evans. The running backs has been going in and out, whether it's been Bucky Irving, whether it's been Rashad White. I personally just think Baker Mayfield has had a better statistical year than Sam Darnold. That's really it.
I agree with you, but I'm not taking Sam Darnold. I'm taking Jaden Daniels.
Oh, you're taking Jaden Daniels?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, he's 14th in the league in passing yards. He has 25 touchdowns and 9 interceptions, which is not bad. But is he a top 3 quarterback in the NFC? I don't believe he is. Is he going to win Offensive Rookie of the Year? Yes. But he did not have a better season than Sam. He did not have a better season than Baker.
It's a good point.
So we're both putting Baker in there. You're taking out Sam. I'm taking out Jaden. I think Sam deserves to be in.
It could be just Sam hate that factors into my reason.
You got to get that hate out your heart, brother.
I'm sorry, Sam.
Yeah, you got to work on that. You got to get that hate out your heart, bro. He's having an amazing season, a season that nobody expected. So,
yeah, we'll see how long it lasts.
Can't wait to talk next week. All right, let's go to running backs. AFC running backs, we got Derrick Henry, Joe Mixon, and Jonathan Taylor. Any issues with those?
AFC. Who'd you say again?
Derrick Henry, Joe Mixon, Jonathan Taylor.
I'm good with that. I'm good with that list.
I'm not.
Yeah. I'm good.
You're good with it?
I'm good. I think James Cook is right there on the cusp, but I like it.
I'm taking James Cook over Joe Mixon. Mixon only played 13 games. He was missed 3 games, I believe. And
how many more yards do you have than James Cook with 2 less games?
Right, he had 8 more yards, but Cook's got 4 more rushing touchdowns, and he has 2 receiving touchdowns as well. So for me, I'm taking James. He played every game. 17 total touchdowns, about the same yards as Joe Mixon. I think James Cook should have been in over James Mixon or over Joe Mixon, who only has 12 total touchdowns. So I'm taking James Cook personally.
Yeah, and 12. I'm sorry,
12 to 17. Mixon got 12. James got 17 total.
Okay. All right. I mean, you got a case. I mean, you got to throw in that Mixon hasn't fumbled the ball this year, and Cook has.
1-0.
Hey, not fumbling the ball not once is impressive.
That's impressive. That's impressive. Yeah, that's impressive. But 1-0, it's not like James Cook is a fumble machine. Like he has 7 or 8 fumbles. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
1-0 is that to me doesn't change it.
If you switch Joe Mixon and James Cook, are we having the same conversation? Like switch their teams?
What?
Like if you put Joe Mixon on Buffalo and put James Cook on Houston, are we having the same conversation? Does the conversation go the
Yeah,
same way?
yeah, I think
Yeah.
so. I mean, Joe Mixon had 240 carries and James Cook's 197. So you're gonna get 43 more attempts. Yeah, if you give James Cook 43 more attempts, he's gonna have a couple hundred more yards easily.
I think if you give Joe Mixon Josh Allen, I think that more of a dual threat, more to pay attention to, makes it a little bit easier to run. You can run some RPOs.
Possibly, and I agree with that. But how many goal line touchdowns did Josh Allen steal from James? 5, 6, easily 5 or 6, 1 yard.
About that.
So how many did CJ
Yeah.
steal from Mixon? 0. So I think we're having the same conversation even if you switch teams. I think James Cook should have been over Joe Mixon personally.
Okay. Fair point.
All right.
Good argument.
NFC, we got Saquon, Jahmyr Gibbs, Josh Jacobs. The NFC is loaded with awesome running backs. There's a few guys that I feel like you could definitely make a case for, but what are your thoughts on Saquon, Jahmyr Gibbs, Josh Jacobs making the profile?
I like it. I like it. I'm not putting Kyron in over. I mean, let's like, what are we talking about here? We're not talking about Saquon.
No,
And
he's a lot, obviously.
We're not talking about Jahmyr Gibbs. So it's really, to me, it's just Josh Jacobs is the only person that maybe you can switch out. But again, I'm not putting Kyron Williams over him. I'm not putting Bijan over him.
Really?
Yeah. I'm not putting James Conner over him.
I think what's
Aaron
really
Jones,
underrated for Josh Jacobs is his passing work. Because obviously he's got 1,285 yards on the ground and the 14 touchdowns. But he also has 340 yards through the air and a touchdown. So the 340, I looked into it to see what, Bijan was through the air. Bijan had 428 and a touchdown, so not a huge gap there. And then Bijan only has the 12 rushing touchdowns to Jacobs' 14. So I can't put Bijan over Jacobs. Kyron, it's hard to keep Kyron out. He's second in the NFC in rushing. He's got 14 touchdowns on the ground. His receiving work is a little low, 182 yards only. He does have the 2 touchdowns through the air. But I agree with you. I would take Josh Jacobs over both those guys. So I also don't have the issue with these lists. I think those 3, and especially what's so impressive to me about Jahmyr Gibbs is his efficiency. 1,273 yards on only 227 carries. So he averaged 5.6 yards a carry on the season. So that is very, very impressive.
Yeah, and to me, so Kyron has 316 attempts. Josh Jacobs has 295.
Yeah.
And then Josh Jacobs is only 14 yards behind Kyron on the ground.
Right.
And then Kyron 5 fumbles. Like, come on, bro. He's been a fumbling machine.
I mean,
this year.
Jacobs had 4, so it's not like that's a huge difference.
Yeah, for sure.
I think the last 2 weeks Jacobs had a fumble in each game as well. So that's kind of a recent issue. Hopefully that doesn't carry into the playoffs for them.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think those fumbles are a big reason why they haven't been winning some of these games.
You're talking about Green Bay?
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's tough. I think Kyron had a great year. The fact that he's able to handle that type of workload at that size, 316 carries, 1,300 yards, is very impressive. He's very durable. He didn't miss a game this year. I thought Bijan had a great year as well, but I can't put either one of those guys over Jacobs or Jahmyr when you factor in everything. So I'm okay with the NFC running backs.
Yeah, shout out to Kyron too, because he held the Rams up by himself when Puka and
big time.
Cooper went out.
Big time.
He was doing everything on his own.
Yep.
And he remained healthy through all of it. So
he was great.
Shout
this
out
year.
to him.
He was great this year. All right, let's go to the receivers. You get 4 from each conference. AFC, we got Jamar Chase, we got Nico Collins, we got Zay Flowers, we got Jerry Jeudy. What are your thoughts on AFC wide receivers?
I have a problem with this list.
I kind of do too.
I don't think Jerry Jeudy should be on this list.
At third in receiving yards in the AFC.
Who's he behind?
Only 4 touchdowns. He's behind Jamar and Brian Thomas.
I'm putting Brian Thomas in there.
I am too.
Yep, I'm putting Brian Thomas in there. That's one swap I would do. And then this one's kind of a tough one. I think they might have the Zay Flowers one right, but I'm inclined to pick Malik Neighbors over Zay Flowers.
Well, Neighbors is in the NFC.
Okay, then I'm gonna stick with it. Then I like it. I'll leave it.
No Lad McConkey.
Nah,
he's got 7 touchdowns to Zay's 4, and he has a few more receiving yards, less targets, more catches.
Better team.
The Ravens
into it. Right.
The Ravens are a better team. By a game or two. I'm
Zay.
taking Lad. I'm taking Lad over Zay.
Yeah.
I'm taking Lad.
So you're putting Lad in.
I'm putting Lad in. Say what?
You're putting Lad in the Pro Bowl?
I'm putting Lad in the Pro Bowl over Zay. Jerry Jeudy can stay. Nico, my guy, you got to go, brother. I'm putting Brian Thomason over Nico. Nico only played 11 games.
You like Jerry Jeudy?
Yes. 1,166 yards, 84 catches. I think the touchdowns are a little bit low, but yeah, I like Jeudy. I like Jamar. I like Brian Thomas. I like Jerry Jeudy. I like Lad McConkey. I think you got to take out Nico. He only played 11 games. He doesn't have 1,000 yards. Only has 6 touchdowns. So, Nico, you got to go. Sorry, brother. And you know I got love for Nico, but you got to go. 63 catches, 968 on the year for Nico. No, it's not Pro Bowl to me.
In 11 games.
In 11 games. He had good yards per game, 88. But
no. 6 touchdowns.
6 touchdowns. It's okay. Not amazing. So yeah, those are my 4. Jamar, Brian, Jerry, and Lad. Take out Nico, take out Zay.
Okay.
All right. NFC. We got Justin Jefferson. We got CeeDee Lamb. We got Terry McLaurin, Scary Terry. And we got Amon-Ra St. Brown. What are your thoughts on the 4?
Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, Amon-Ra, and
Terry.
Who's the 4th one? Oh, and Terry.
Terry's kind of a surprise to me.
Yeah.
The 12 touchdowns is impressive for Terry.
Right.
But he's 10th in the NFC in receiving.
I like Terry a lot. I'm a big Terry McLaurin fan.
Yep.
Can't put him in the Pro Bowl.
What are you putting over him?
I'll take AJ Brown.
7 touchdowns, 1,079 yards, and 67 catches.
Yep. In 3 less games.
That's an interesting pick, my brother.
3 less games. Yep.
3 less games, yes. 7 less catches. What, 45, 55 less yards? 45?
No, he got more. He got more yards.
More yards.
AJ Brown got more yards.
Yep, 45 more yards.
And he got less targets.
And less targets. Okay, I feel that. So the other 3 are cool with Jets, CeeDee.
Yep. And Amon-Ra.
Those 3 are top flight.
Those are locks for me.
Awesome receivers. I'm taking Jackson Smith-Njigba over Terry. I think
that's a good pick too.
I think in terms of him having a breakout year, 96 catches, 1,121 yards, and 6 touchdowns. The touchdown thing, I think, is the big bump for Terry. Having 12 touchdowns in the year is very important.
Yeah.
But I think in terms of being a standout player this year, someone who we haven't seen this from, obviously this being only being his second year. I mean, Terry's been rock solid. No matter who his quarterback is, year in, year out, he's been solid. But I think Jackson Smith and Jigba had more of a standout year than Terry. So I would put Jackson Smith over Terry.
Yeah, and it's kind of not fair too, because I know, because I had Terry McLaurin in fantasy this year, and a lot of his touchdowns came from the 1 yard line or within the 5 yard line. I remember one game he had 2 touchdowns and 17 yards and 2 catches.
Yep.
So I think that those numbers look a little bit better as far as the touchdowns
go. Yeah, I'm with you there, but I don't hate the AJ Brown take. Any thoughts? Drake London, he was 6th in the NFC, and you mentioned Neighbors for the AFC. You don't think Neighbors should be in over Terry? 4th in the NFC in yards, 6 touchdowns, 104 catches as a rookie with terrible quarterback play.
60 more targets.
60 more targets, yeah.
That's way too many targets.
He had the most targets
way too many more
out of anybody in the NFC.
So not as efficient.
Yep.
1,100 yards versus 1,034. So 60. I think Terry could get 100 yards and 60 targets.
You think?
And he had what? Terry had 74 catches. The Neighbors had 104.
Yep. So plus 30 catches.
60 more targets. I think he could get 30 catches.
Fair.
And a lot more than 100 yards.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he already has them doubled up in touchdowns.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm taking Terry over Neighbors.
For sure. All right, cool. I like it. All right, let's talk about.
Hold up. Honorable mention. I know we only wanted to talk about some position players, but the Patriots fan in me got to shout out the special teamer from the AFC who made it, Brendan Schooler.
Never heard of him.
He is the second coming of Matthew Slater.
Okay.
Look him up.
Okay.
Pro Bowler. First year Pro Bowler. Many
right.
more to come. Shout out Brendan Schooler.
Interesting.
All right, go ahead.
See. Yeah, I mean, that's one thing the Patriots can do, man, is they can draft some special teams guys. They were there for years. And it's crazy how it's like, it's such an overlooked thing, but from an actual football perspective, that really can change a game. Because typically speaking, to win a football game, you got to win 2 of the 3 categories, special teams,
phases.
2 of the 3 phases. So if you're winning special teams consistently because you've got guys like a Matthew Slater or Brendan Schooler, like, that increases your chances to win so much. Obviously, you can't only win special teams and lose offense and defense, but as the paths get better and continue to do what they do, that's something to watch for sure.
Yeah, and it's crazy how, like, I feel like it's a really difficult aspect of the game, but I think but it's so impactful, like so difficult to block a punt or block a field goal. But if you do that, chances are your team is going to win the game if you can block a kick.
Right.
Same thing about, like, if you're a gunner and you punt it away and you have to tackle someone in the open space at the 5 yard line.
Yeah.
And you can get that done. Now the other team has 95 yards to go. That's just deflating for an offense.
Yep.
And then obviously a confidence booster for the special teams and the defense that's about to come onto the field. So if you can make a play like that, I think being a Pro Bowler is not. I don't take that lightly if you can become a Pro Bowler on special teams.
Right. And you see it so often where there's a guy catching a punt and there's a free runner at him. Full speed head start, and the amount of times that they miss the tackle there is huge.
Yeah, more
you can
times
actually
than
make
not.
that tackle. Like you said, that's a huge momentum swing for the special teams, for the defense, for the team as a whole. Because you tackle them at the 5, now they get super conservative. They don't want to make a mistake down there. They might hand the ball off a couple times, a little throw. Chances are they're going to end up punting. So that's a huge part of the game for sure. All right, let's talk about who your Super Bowl pick is as of right now. Who do you got in the Super Bowl from the AFC and the NFC?
AFC, we talked about it in one of the previous episodes. My opinion hasn't changed from the AFC. I'm not betting against Patrick Mahomes. I want to say that this is the year that Josh Allen will break through and finally beat him. But I can't. I can't do it. I'm going with Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs out of the AFC. And in the NFC, I am going to say that we're going to have a rematch of the Super Bowl from last year. 2 years ago.
2 years ago. 2 years ago. Yeah.
Philly. And I think Philly is going to get back there and lose again.
I am right there with you. I got the same two teams.
Really?
I think Philly has the best overall team in the NFC, from offense to defense, running back, everything. Jalen Hurts kind of concerns me a little bit with his inconsistency throwing the football, but I think their defense will be able to kind of string the offense along a little bit if Saquon doesn't have it going. But I do think Philly's the best team in the NFC, and I'm right there with you with the Kansas City pick. I can't bet against them, especially with the amount of time that they have to rest going to the playoffs. This is a perfect opportunity for them to three-peat and do something that no one's ever done in the Super Bowl era. So I do got Kansas City three-peating and beating the Philadelphia Eagles.
And that's why, again, if I'm Philly, I'm trying to get as much rest as Kansas City instead of chasing records. But
okay, so let me ask you this. If Saquon doesn't play this week, do they win the Super Bowl?
That's a great point. No.
Exactly.
No.
I think
in my opinion, no. But in my opinion, no. But if you're Philly, you're not thinking that. You're not thinking we're gonna lose in the Super Bowl,
right?
So, if you're Philly, I think you gotta act like you're going to and win the Super Bowl.
Yeah. I don't think it changes anything. I think whether he plays or not, they're not going to win the Super Bowl. Obviously, if any of them get hurt, Saquon or any of the key pieces on the offensive line is going to make it tougher to get to the Super Bowl, of course. But still, I'm still the same in terms of playing Saquon this week, and I still think Philly as a whole is the best team in the NFC. If Detroit didn't have as many injuries, I would most likely pick them, but they've been losing people every single week all year, and I think they're too banged up to win. I mean, as of right now, we're going to build our brackets out.
You think they compete the best with Philly?
Do I think Detroit right now compete the best with Philly? I don't.
Yeah.
I don't.
Okay. All right.
I think Detroit is going to be the 5 seed. I think they're going to beat Tampa Bay in the first round, and then we'll have to see how it shapes up. I don't even know if Detroit can make the. They might get Philly. They might get Philly the second round. Potentially,
that would be a great game. I'm
that
down
would be
for
a great
that
game. So we'll see. But in that game, I'm taking Philly to beat Detroit in Philly. So we'll see. A lot has to kind of shake up there before we know who's playing who and where they're playing. But it's going to be tough for Detroit with those injuries. The way that San Francisco was able to kind of slice them up last week, and San Francisco's kind of broken, it scares me. There are better offenses in the league that I think are going to expose Detroit, and we're going to see that starting Sunday night. All right, cool. So we got that. Let's transition over to the NBA. And right now we know there's a lot of stuff going on in Miami surrounding Jimmy Butler. There's been rumors. It's a funny story because when Shams reported that he wanted to be traded, Jimmy's agent came out and pretty much ripped Shams. And then now here we are 2-3 weeks later, and he actually, did request the trade. And then Miami today just suspended him as well for 7 games for multiple instances of conduct detrimental to the team.
Yeah.
What do you think is going on in Miami, and where do you think?
You go first on this one. I want to hear what you have to say first.
At some point in time, bro, we got to start having a conversation about Jimmy himself. Because how many times has he been in a situation where he stirs up issues with the team, whether it's Minnesota. I don't know what happened in Chicago when he was there, but Minnesota stirred it up. Issues with the team and beefing with Cat and whatever. He goes to Philadelphia. Him and Embiid, they don't get along. He's beefing. He's having issues there. Goes to Miami. It's good for a while. He takes them to 2 finals, loses both, but both times he wasn't. They shouldn't have been in the finals. Both times.
Yeah.
Loses both. Cool. Can't really put that on him. And eventually now he kind of just slowly gets to a point where he just doesn't want to be there anymore. I am all for players being where they want to be, but I do think there's a way to go about it. Ever since LeBron made the decision to leave Cleveland and go to Miami, that kind of really opened up the players having the power or, whatever.
Yeah, they're in control.
You're in control, which I'm all for that. The thing about LeBron, though, is he fulfilled his contract every single time. He never got disgruntled. He never requested it. He's never been traded. So there's a right way to go about it where you finish your contract or you're doing all the stuff behind the scenes where you're talking to the team and you're mutually finding a good partner. Jimmy hasn't had that happen, at least from what we can see in the public's eye. We don't know if he's been having the conversations with Miami's front office and talking to him behind the scenes saying, hey, here's where I'm at. I'd like to be traded. I'd like to do X, Y, Z. We don't know if that happened and what the front office's response was. All we see is he's been kind of pouting and dragging his feet and throwing up some one-legged threes and just kind of going through the motion, walking around, moping, almost like he's trying to force them to trade him. Then he had his comments last night where he's talking about he's trying to get his joy back and he hasn't enjoyed playing basketball. He loves Miami, X, Y, Z, but in terms of on the court, he hasn't had his joy. They asked him if he's going to get his joy back. He says no. So, long story short, there's a common denominator here, and it's Jimmy.
Yep.
I think there's a way to go about it. I don't think he's going about it in the right way unless this is just a last-ditch effort because he's been having those conversations and nothing happened, and he hasn't had another choice. Him being suspended 7 games, I don't think that really matters too much. He's going to lose 7 games of game checks. Jimmy's been making $50 million a year for some time. So if it's a situation where this is what he had to do to get their attention, I get it. I would have liked to see him handle it better and Miami to handle it better. If he's wanted to be traded, make it happen and go from there. But I mean, this is at least the 3rd time, if not more, that there's been issues with Jimmy and his organization to the point where he's forced his way out.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with basically everything that you just said. At some point in time, you need to look at the common denominator, which has been Jimmy. I do like the kind of grit and toughness that he brings to teams. Like I think he made Minnesota better. It was kind of like a weird fit in Philly, but obviously he's made Miami a lot better. Like you said, he brought them to 2 NBA finals.
With Philly too, he helped them go to the Eastern Conference Finals against Kawhi and the Raptors.
Against the Raptors
in Game 7 because of that Kawhi buzzer beater. So they had a great chance to go to the finals and possibly win it.
That's true. Yeah, so like he brings winning DNA to a franchise, but it's almost like a fuse. Like after a while, the fuse gets real short and then it goes off and then you have to blow it all up and then start over. And if you're an organization like, if you're, I don't know, like you said, not sure what happened in Chicago, but if you're Minnesota, you got to blow that up. And you go to Philly, you got to blow that up. You go to Miami, you blow that up. Now Miami needs Tyler Hero is their new franchise player. He's their number 1 guy now if they get rid of Jimmy. But, backpedaling a little bit, Shams, my bad, bro. I was one of those people that was like, he's lying.
Yeah.
He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Bring Woj back.
Yeah.
I was commenting on his posts on Instagram, talk about you.
That's crazy.
You're not credible. You're not a credible source.
That's crazy.
Hey, when I'm wrong, I'll admit I'm wrong. Shams, if you ever see this, my bad, bro. No, but he proved a lot of people wrong. And I'm kind of looking at Jimmy Butler's aging a little sideways now too, because he tried to discredit our report that was true. So, and if that's true, and you're the one coming out saying that he wants to trade after a reporter said he wants to trade, and you told that reporter that they're lying, I think that's kind of crazy. And then we hear it from the horse's mouth when Jimmy said in his presser that I don't want to play here anymore.
Right.
I think that's crazy. But as far as Jimmy goes, losing the fun, what happened? I want to know what made you not have fun anymore, because obviously we see it in your effort. I did hear there were some rumble. Obviously, he's unhappy about he didn't get a contract extension, so now he's going into next year as the last year of his Well, this year is the last year, but he has a player option for next year.
Okay.
which he's going to pick up. It's a $55 million extension. I'm sorry, $55 million option.
Yep.
So like, what do you want that will make you happy? Like, what kind of team do you want to play for or play with? There were some rumblings about Phoenix and trading him for Bradley Beal. I know Bradley Beal has a no trade clause.
Yeah.
So that would be tough. Bradley Beal would have to agree to it. I don't think Bradley Beal would agree to it. But even if you did, does that make Phoenix a contender? I don't think so. I know they've been playing well as of late, but I don't think that you're winning a championship with that team, especially if you're starting out with one of your main pieces halfway through the season. It's always hard to kind of like make that come together versus, the core that they have been playing together for a few years now. So that's one thing. For two, I have little sympathy for people that are paid as well as he's paid that are saying I'm not having fun. He's getting paid $48 million this year. And then, like I said, he has a $55 million extension for next year. There is only one current NBA player that's making $55 million, and that's Steph Curry. So, like if you're getting paid that kind of money, if I'm getting paid that kind of money, I'll play for the Shanghai Sharks, and I'll be happy. It doesn't matter. I'll play for the YMCA, Marlboro Orthodontist. That I'll play for them, and I'll be happy. Like, with that kind of money, I just don't think that there's as much room for complaints. Like, I understand you didn't get your extension, but you're an aging player. Like teams don't pay aging players anymore. I mean, the Miami, they let go of D Wade, and he went to Chicago when he started aging. D Wade wanted more money. Miami did not offer him that money, and D Wade left. He went to Chicago, went to Cleveland before he ultimately came back for a lesser deal. There have been former players that have had relationships with Pat Riley that say you can't, once you're on his bad side, you're on his bad side. I heard that Pat Riley had told Jimmy Butler's agent that Jimmy Butler was not putting forth the effort that it takes to win, saying that he's not trying to win. I'm sure that rubbed Jimmy the wrong way because you know how much he cares about winning. Is Pat wrong? I mean, his play this year has not reflected his best effort. And I don't know if he's dealing with a nagging injury or maybe it is age just catching up to him. But regardless, put yourself in the other person's shoes. If you're like, I understand he has done right by the Miami organization. Like, he has been a class act for Miami since he's been there up to this point. I haven't heard any severe things that he's done. Plus, he brought them to 2 finals. So he did what he was paid to do. I don't think he exceeded his expectations. I don't think he came short of his expectations. I think he met his expectations. So I think that you get paid for what you're going to do, not what you've done in the past. So as of right now, when you're looking for a new contract and you're an aging player that's not playing his best brand of basketball, and I'm a NBA president, GM, owner, I am not giving you that kind of money. And if you want to go to Washington and do that, then go ahead. But I am not doing that if I'm the Miami Heat.
Yeah, I mean, you can only do this so many times. And if I'm another team, why am I going to trade a piece who's playing well and who's happy in my organization for you when eventually, based on your history and your patterns, you're going to do the same thing? You're going to blow up. You're going to get upset. You're not going to like playing here anymore for whatever reason. And maybe he's just the type of guy who can't be in a situation for too long.
Yeah, he needs short-term deals.
He needs short-term deals where Jimmy Butler's the type of dude that has to lease a car. This dude probably never financing no cars or paying cash for no cars because you don't want to have the car for more than 2-3 years.
After 2-3 years, you don't want to no more.
Get a brand new car. So, and that's okay. You can be, there's nothing wrong with leasing cars or, being in situations where you're only at places for a short period of time. That's fine. But when you do this so many times and you don't do things the right way in terms of getting out of an organization and getting somewhere where you want to be, why would somebody else blow up what they got going on and trade a good player for you when they know they're only going to have you for a couple of years before you get sick of them and you blow it up? And then one thing about Jimmy Butler too, he's not really a guy that performs well during the regular season. He's the type of guy that once the playoffs come around, he severely elevates his game. So in terms of like how he's been playing this season or seasons in the past, I can't tell you the last time he's made an all-pro, not an all-pro, an all-NBA team, because he's been at the point where he kind of coasts through the regular season, and then near the end of the season, he elevates his game. That's why the years when they went to the finals, or the Eastern Conference Finals, they've gone as like 7 or 8 seeds because he's not really putting that type of effort for whatever reason during the regular season. And then once the playoff comes, he turns to a different player. So ideally, that's what you want, right? You'd rather have a guy who plays better in the playoffs than the regular season, but during the regular season, for a while now. I don't know if it's just because of his age, but he hasn't been a guy that really is putting forth that kind of effort and put up big numbers in the regular season.
Yeah, and then once you find yourself as a low seed, you're going on the road for all your playoff games, so you never have home court advantage, and it's really tough to win that way.
Right.
And I think that factors into why they didn't beat Denver. I think if they had a higher seed or a better record than Denver, maybe they could have won a couple more games. Like you'll never know. We'll never know. So
right.
No, I get where you're coming from. But if you're a guy that likes leasing cars, why did you purchase a car with a 6-year option to financing option?
6-year loan,
like
72-month loan.
This is 72 month when they have 3, 4, 5-year financing options, and you go and get the maximum number. So I mean, this is the longest he's.
I'll tell you why. Best interest rate. You get the best interest rate on the 72-month loan. The more you go down, the higher the interest rate goes. So the longer deal you can get, the more it's going to pay. Year over year. So.
Right. So, but pick your poison. Do you want a low interest rate and have trouble selling your car when it comes time that you get sick of it? Or would you have a high interest rate and it'll be easy to get rid of your car when it comes time? So if you only want 2-3 year deals, don't sign a 5-year deal or sign a 3-year deal and then a 3-year extension. Like just
knowing
do
damn
your
well
2-3 year deal. And
knowing damn well after 3-4 years you don't want that car no more. If you know you're not going to you're going to want that anymore after all that time, why put yourself in that situation over and over and over? I don't know.
Yeah. No, I agree. But I mean, so the Miami it sucks because now Miami, they know other teams know Miami has to move him because he's not happy there. So I'm sure they're not going to get Jimmy's full value when they trade him.
Yeah,
it's going to be for pennies. You're sending a disgruntled player who's making $48 million this year and he's going to opt in and make $55 million next year. So like, who wants to pay that kind of money to an aging star?
Right. Who doesn't do much during the regular season anyways. So if you can guarantee you get to the playoffs, okay, maybe that'll be a good deal. But if you're a team who's typically in the play-in or doesn't have that type of team where you're going to have a high seed or at least be a 6 and above, that's tough. But right now, Miami's 17-15, so they're not terrible. They're in the 6th seed in the East.
6th seed. Yeah.
Who do you have in mind for possible trade partners? I know there's been talk about Golden State as well.
Golden State. It's so tough, bro. Because again, if I'm a GM of any other team, I'm not trading for him because the only way I'll trade for him if I was like the Clippers. Where like you lost to Paul George
and a Kawhi who hasn't played yet this year.
Well, Kawhi, he's coming back now. He's coming back.
Maybe
you see the ad. You see the commercial.
No,
he had I think it was a New Balance commercial. He's coming back. He's nearing a return.
Okay,
but yeah, maybe like a team like that, maybe. But then again, like, what are you going to give up to get? I don't want to give up anything to get Jimmy.
I can see the Lakers. Doing something dumb. Because I mean, if you can get Jimmy for the next 2 years, you only got Braun for another year or two. So possibly give him a chance. I don't know. I guess I could see them.
If they're paying AD
and they just traded
Braun.
D'Lo, and D'Lo would have been a good trade candidate because he has a 30 or so million.
He had a high
number
contract.
But I don't know. I don't know where he goes. I don't think Jimmy Butler will ever win a chip. No matter where he goes, unless he goes to Boston. But if he goes to Boston, he might blow it up. He might start beefing with Tatum and Brown.
Oh no, Boston, get out of here with that. You know who might be able to use them though? Houston. I know they've been playing well, but they have a lot of young guys, and we talked about it in the past. With their roster, they're not winning anything. Like their highest,
maybe a
playoff
series.
I wouldn't even pick
because right now they get Dallas, and they're not beating Dallas.
I'm taking Dallas. Their leading scorer is Jalen Green with 19 points per game. So it's like that you need someone to come in and kind of like lead these young guys. Again, if you have to give up too much for them, obviously I wouldn't do it. But if you can get them for cheap, maybe you can, make a run for the next 2 years. You're not going to win, but
It
at
helps their
least you'll be
chances.
it helps their chances. Maybe you'll win a playoff series or two if you have Jimmy instead of, I don't know. I don't even know who you would have to give up for him. But
Right.
yeah, I would say Houston. Houston should probably try to get him for a steal.
Possible. I know that there were a few superstars in the offseason who were considering going to Houston. And Ime Udoka told them, like, hey, we're not there yet. We're not at a point where we can really contend. So if that's where your head's at, I'd probably recommend going in a different direction. Now, it might be different if they can make a trade, like you said, especially at a heavy discount and like that. But I don't know if that's kind of what they want. I don't know if Ime is going to kind of put up with any of the stuff that Jimmy may possibly bring. He want to just continue to build the culture with these young guys and then bring in the right piece as opposed to just bringing in someone who just happened to become available. So we'll see.
Yeah.
I'm curious to know where he ends up going.
You know what's crazy to me is that if Emi is going to say that to some of the stars that wanted to go there, and he still is third in the West at 22-12.
But like you said,
why are they not there though? Like maybe they should have come there, and then they would be there.
I mean, possibly, but it's like you can win a lot of games in the NBA if you have young guys who are just trying, fresher legs, pushing the ball up the court. You can win a lot of regular season games. Once it comes down to a playoff series where you got to play a team 7 times, best out of 7, I wouldn't take them over a lot of the teams that are in the playoffs in the West. So having a good regular season record, okay, cool. But I'm curious to know what superstars were one. I think James Harden was probably one.
It was Harden. I think Harden would have been a great fit over there.
No, I don't think so because he's too bald on. All he wants to do is handle the ball, and he thinks that he's a system, and he is. But that's not what they're building in Houston. That's not how they play. That's not how they want to play. And Harden's another guy who's getting older. So it's not like he's going to be a sustainable guy that you can have for the next 5-6 years and try to build around. He's on the
it's
back end.
That's when they're win now.
Yeah. So, but we'll see. I'm curious to see where he ends up going and what the fit looks like for whatever team he does go to. And then Miami, that's too bad because they got a couple good players over there. And who knows? Maybe they'll flourish if Jimmy's been that toxic in the locker room and kind of bringing everybody down. Maybe they'll, go on a little bit of run. We'll have to kind of see what happens there.
Maybe he just drives up the street to Atlanta, plays there.
I'll be there. It'll be fun.
They're a team that if they have a guy like him, maybe they're the 7th seed right now, 18 and 16. If they have him, maybe they're competing in the 5-4 seed category.
Possibly. We'll have to see. It'll be interesting to see where he goes, but we'll have to see what happens. All right, you have a little segment that you want to run. Go ahead and explain what.
So this segment is based on who from the NBA is not yet in the Hall of Fame, and maybe they're eligible coming up pretty soon to be in the Hall of Fame. And we're going to debate if they should be in the Hall of Fame or not.
Okay, and these are all going to be retired players.
They're all retired, but I do have one that's still currently playing that I want to throw into this list as well, just for fun.
Okay.
So number 1 on this list, probably the most highly debated one that we've had for some time. Everyone always talks about it. Carmelo Anthony. Is he a Hall of Famer?
It's a good one. He played, 18 years? Averaged 22.5 for his career. 6 rebounds, 3 assists, 45% from the field, 35% from 3.
22.5? I thought it would be more than that.
Well, his last, 3 or 4 years playing with Portland.
Lakers, Thunder.
Like he wasn't really the Denver Carmelo and the Knicks Carmelo. No championships obviously is a big one. But to me, he's a Hall of Famer. His impact on the game as a whole, his ability to score the basketball. There's so many players that talk about who the hardest player to guard was ever, and so to me, I would say yes. I would say Carmelo Anthony should be in the Hall of Fame. Yes.
Yeah. I agree with you. I'm putting him in there. Just thinking back to, I don't remember him like too much on Denver, but I've seen plenty of highlights. The dude was a problem in Denver. Dude was a big problem in Denver. Got them to the Western Conference Finals.
That was a great
Lost.
series where they were going at it, him and Kobe. That was awesome. That was great to see.
Yeah. Lost to the Lakers. So like that's a respectable loss. Losing to the Lakers is, you can't crucify someone for losing to the Lakers. A lot of people were losing to the Lakers,
and the Lakers won that year. That was 2009, I believe. I think the Lakers won that year. They beat Orlando.
Yeah, that was 2009?
I believe so.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, in the 2000s was, the Lakers had 4 championships from 2000 to 2009. So
yep.
So yeah, I agree with you. I think Melo is a Hall of Famer. Plus, when he was with the Knicks, dude, he was a freaking problem. He was a problem in New York. Scoring machine.
Yep.
He was a great rebounder, killer from mid range. He could play in the post, catch and shoot threes, dribble pull ups.
However you want.
He's gonna give you each and every single way possible. And it didn't matter who was in front of him. He was just barbecuing that.
Didn't matter.
So
I went and saw him play the Celtics in the playoffs when he was with the Knicks. And that was when they had Chauncey, they had Amari, and they were both out that game. So it was him against the big 3 Celtics. And he finished with like 48, 18, and 9. He was absolutely
killed us, huh? Did they win too?
Y'all. Nah, Boston ended up winning. KG hit a little jump hook. Not the buzzer, but it was with only a few seconds left. But man, just watching Melo by himself, one man take, do what he did to that team. I was like, this guy is special. He was awesome that night. So yeah, to me, there's definitely a lot of worse players that are in the Hall of Fame. To me, he's a Hall of Fame.
Okay. Next on the list, LaMarcus Aldridge.
That's a good one. He played 15 years, 07 to 22. 19 points a game, 8 rebounds, 2 assists, 50%, 49% from the field, 32% from 3, 81% free throws. This is a tough one.
No championships, right?
I don't believe he was with the Spurs and they won one. I don't think he was there when the Spurs won. So I don't believe he has any championships though.
Okay.
Man, this one's tough. This one is really tough. I'm probably gonna say no to LaMarcus. Some of his years in Portland, though, he was a top 3 power forward in the league. That mid-range, I remember, was just so nasty. Such a nasty mid-range. But I don't know if he did quite enough to make the Hall of Fame. I wonder how many All-Star games and
so I've got it right here. So 7-time All-Star from 2012 to 2016, and then 2018 to 2019. 2 All NBA second team, 2015 and 2018.
No first team.
No first team. He had 2 second teams and 3 third teams. He was all rookie first team in 07. And no championships, but he was on that Spurs team in 2017 when they were frying the Warriors and then Kawhi got hurt. And I thought that if that didn't happen, they were winning the chip that year.
To me, it's a no. I don't think he did quite enough. 7-time All-Star, 5-time All-NBA, no chips, never was never led the league in like scoring, rebounding, blocks, nothing like that. To me, it's close, but I'm gonna say no for LaMarcus.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's close. I like his game a lot. I think he's a great player, great dude.
Yep.
But, 7-time All-Star. I think there's a lot of people that are 7-time All-Stars. Like you pointed out, no All-NBA first teams. So I think it's like not one time were you
were
the
top
best player
5.
at your position.
Yep.
And then it's kind of tough, like, towards the end of his career, I feel like his production really dipped. He did have those injuries late in his career. I think didn't he have like a life-threatening injury? Yeah, he had to retire and then come back. He had like blood clots or an irregular heartbeat or something like that. I forget what
something
it was,
like
but
that.
something that was like really serious. So like, his production really dipped when he wasn't playing that consistently. But I just think there's too many people. If it just, if you've made All-Star a bunch of times, I just don't see how you can get put in there.
Agreed.
So
Great,
I'm with you on
great
that.
career. Obviously made a lot of money and did some good things for Portland. He's probably top 2, top 3 all-time scorers in Portland history. But that, to me, that's not going to get you to the Hall of Fame in my opinion.
Yep. All right, next one. This one not eligible until 2027, but Blake Griffin.
No. I like Blake.
Why so quickly?
I like Blake, but I don't have to pull up his numbers to say yes. Now, I was a huge Blake Griffin fan at Oklahoma. Huge. I remember when I was doing the drafts back then, I was picking them to win the whole thing because I was a huge Blake Griffin fan. He played 2 years at Oklahoma. He didn't come out after his first year, which is kind of interesting. 19 points a game for his career. Solid. 8 rebounds, 4 assists, 49% from the field, 33% from 3, 69.6% of free throws. Not great. 6-time All-Star, 5-time All-NBA, All-Rookie, and Rookie of the Year.
So 5 All-NBA, but he had 3 All-NBA second team 3 times and All-NBA third team twice. So none of them were first team.
Nope. Is he top 2, 3 dunker of all time? Yes. Obviously behind Vince Carter. Maybe a couple other guys too, but is he top 3, top 5 dunker of all time? Absolutely. Does he have some highlight reels of dunks and posters? Absolutely. But he's not a Hall of Famer in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think he was a little too. I mean, he was dominant at the beginning of his career, like in LA. But I also felt like he was kind of one-dimensional. Like it never translated to winning. Like he wasn't a good jump shooter until the end of his tenure in LA, and then he went to Detroit, and that's when he started becoming a good jump shooter. But I think if he had that in his prime in LA, I think they would have had a better chance. But I mean, that team on paper was so stacked, and they never went anywhere. So, and I think that his style of play partially contributed to that. Plus, I know he wasn't getting along with Chris Paul, and it's like, if you really want to win, you got to put everything aside and just do what it takes to win. And if that means succeeding a little bit to the veteran, or if that means having a sit-down conversation with the veteran and the coach and being like, let's try this, and see if it works, and let's try to run it through me and have me be the primary person, see how that goes. But all the bickering and back and forth, and I think that prevented him from going further. And I think if he did go further, we could have had a better conversation or a better argument. But based on what happened, nah, I can't do it.
Agreed. He had a good career. A lot of fun to watch in his early days. Those Lob City days were so much fun to watch, but I don't think he put together a Hall of Fame career. Also only played 765 games. So definitely without a decent amount with injuries. So
yep. All right, next. Andre Iguodala.
Iggy. People forget about how nasty he was with Philly. His career numbers don't really show just how good he was because of how long he played with Golden State as like a auxiliary kind of guy. Crucial to that team, but his numbers don't really show. 11 points a game, 5 rebounds a game, 4 assists a game, 46% field goal, 33% three, 71% free throws, 1 All-Star. 1 All-Star only?
Mm-hmm.
4-time NBA champ, 04-05
With
All-Rookie, 2-time All-Defense.
four-time, not to cut you off, a four-time
Yep,
NBA champ with one Finals MVP.
with the Finals MVP. Man, he's got to go in the Hall of Fame. I'm sorry. He's got to
Mm-hmm.
go in the Hall of Fame. The 4 chips,
Mm-hmm.
the Finals MVP, the role he played on those winning teams.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the numbers aren't off the chain. He was definitely underrated from his time when he was in Philly. He was playing with AI back then, and he was also extremely explosive. The crazy dunks, if you look at his highlight package. The
Yeah.
numbers aren't amazing, but in terms of his career achievements, I would say yes, Iggy will be a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I agree. In Philly, too nasty. One of the best players in the league when he was in Philly. Him and AI were killing it. They were dominating the game. He went to Denver for a year before going to Golden State. Was in Golden State until those 2 sorry years in Miami where he didn't want to be there, and then went back to Golden State again. But yeah, a 4-time NBA championship. He was a starter on those teams. At least most of them. I don't know about the last one, but I know at least the first couple in Golden State, he was a starter. Like I said, Finals MVP. I just think he contributed too much in his early part of the career and like showed that he can dominate. And then when he went to Golden State, he also figured out how to take a lesser role and still contribute to a championship level team. I think not a lot of players with his talent would be willing to take a back role to the young guys and then have it pull through and work out for them. So
Agreed.
yeah, I'm putting Iggy in the Hall of Fame.
Such a smart player. His IQ was
Mm-hmm.
off the charts, and his improvement in terms of how he was able to speak English from the start of his career to the end. Hall of Fame. Hall of Fame.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna do 2 more here. One of them is gonna be a former player, and one of them, the last one's gonna be a current player.
Okay.
Last former player, John Wall.
No, sorry.
Okay, so hold on. Let me list off his credentials.
Let's go through it.
5-time All-Star from 2014 to 2018. All NBA third team in 2017. All defensive second team in 2015. All rookie first team and slam dunk champion.
What are we talking about, bro? What are we talking about?
Yeah, I'm not too sure why he's on this list. But
He averaged 18.7 points, 4 rebounds, 9 assists.
that's
The
good.
9 assists is good.
18 points is pretty good too. If you like,
18
if it
points
was
is
on
not
like a
bad.
championship winning team. But
I mean, he only played 647 games. He's still getting paid
yeah,
by someone. Someone's still paying him 30, 40 million a year right now.
I mean, you can't. That factors in.
Well, I mean, he didn't play enough games to even be considered
Mhm.
for the Hall of Fame. 647. That's less than Blake Griffin.
So he's
John Wall
eligible in 2027.
He had a good stretch. He had a good stretch where he was a top point guard for a few years, but not nearly enough.
Washington.
Not nearly enough. Only 1 All NBA, 5-time All Star. That's not enough. That's not enough. No, it's enough for me. And he
Okay,
said
let's move on.
he said some crazy stuff too. Like the Cavs, like LeBron and them, were scared of that. Oh, he said some stuff that I'm just like, man, you tripping. He's tripping.
Yeah.
He was definitely, yeah, it's enough for me.
Okay. Last one. Current player. Russell Westbrook.
Yes.
So MVP in 2016, 9-time All-Star, including 2 All-Star game MVPs, 2015, 2016. Gold medal with Team USA. I mean, I don't really factor that into Hall of Fame. Holds the NBA record for most triple doubles with 199. He led the NBA in assists in 2018, 2019, and 2021. He was the scoring leader in 2015 and 2017. All rookie team in 08. No championships.
He's a Hall of Famer.
One finals appearance.
He's a Hall of Famer. How many years in a row did he average a triple double?
Uh, 3 or 4.
4, 3 to 4, 4 to 5, something like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
he did something that had never been done multiple times.
Yep.
He's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I remember he had a 20-20-20 game.
Yep.
But yeah. Yeah, I agree. I mean, what he was able to do in OKC with KD, made it to that one finals, but came up against a juggernaut in Miami, and they were well on their way to repeating. They won 2 in a row. So
And OKC was
that's
young at that time.
they were young, yeah, and they didn't lose. I mean, it wasn't his fault. I mean, yeah, they lost. I mean, the close. I show you all the time the stats for that closeout game when KD took 17 shots, had 20-something points. Westbrook had 43 shots on 44 points. James Harden 6 points on 2 for 10, 2 for 8.
Typical James.
But like if I'm Westbrook though, I'm going out swinging. I might lose by 20, but I'm gonna have 40.
Yeah.
So I like that attitude. I like that mindset. The effort that he puts into the game. He doesn't cheat it. He tries hard. He hustles. He plays with passion. When he goes up, he tries to tear the rim off, and he's one of the best dunkers I've seen for a guard. He's probably the best guard.
It's
him and D Rose.
And D Rose.
Yeah, probably the best guard dunkers I've ever seen.
I think John Morant may have something to say about that when it's all said and done. I think he might creep into that conversation, but yes,
yeah.
Russ and D Rose as of right now for sure.
Yeah, so him and KD, they kept OKC competitive. KD leaves, he still kept OKC competitive. I mean, they weren't like competing for a championship, but they made the playoffs a few times. Yep. And it was all because of him. He was doing everything for that team, playing defense, rebounding. He was doing all those triple doubles. That was when he went on and did those 3 or 4 straight years of triple doubles. And averaging a triple double for 1 year is insane, but doing it for like 3 or 4 years consecutively, that's wild. 199 triple doubles, and like the next on the list is let me look this up. I want to know how many he has.
Westbrook's way past him now.
181.
And Westbrook has how many?
19. If you count the regular season, so this one is counting. It was 199. That was regular season. If you count regular season and playoffs, he has 213. And then next behind that, Magic Johnson with 30.
No, that's not. That can't be accurate.
Hold on. I'm sorry. This is
Jokic.
This is playoffs.
Yeah. I know Jokic.
Jokic has 130. LeBron has 112.
And I think Luka's coming up too with like 70 something.
Luka's got 77, but he's behind Jason Kidd and Will Chamberlain.
Gotcha.
But yeah, no, I'm with you. What Russ has done way too much for the game, to leave him out. And I think if you're putting Melo in, I think you got to put Russ in.
Yeah. And the fact that Russ led the league twice in scoring and 3 times in assists and has an MVP, and Russ was on the 75th anniversary team as well. So, yes, he will be in the Hall of Fame, guaranteed.
Yep, agreed.
I like that segment. We should keep doing more because I'm sure there's a bunch of other guys who may be close, or we can maybe even do like some football ones too, where.
Yeah, we can do NFL. There were a couple other people I wanted to talk about, but we'll save it for the next episode.
Yep, cool. All right, brother. That is a wrap. Episode 5 in the books. We'll have a lot to talk about next week, and we'll compare our game picks. I got a good feeling this week I'm gonna make a little comeback, and you'll be up 2-1, and the single most important game of the season, I think, is gonna
go Detroit.
So we will see. All right, that's a wrap. Episode 5. We out.
All right, y'all. Peace.